Okay, let's quickly draw up the desk tidy we're going to make in Metalwork Project 1, Semester 1, 2020. I'm going to use a CAD package called OnShape, which most of you have used before. So onshape.com in your Chrome browser. Please don't use Internet Explorer on a desktop. We're going to log into OnShape. You most likely have logged in the last couple of years, set up an account, but if you haven't, please sign up and use your education details. So once I've got that, it's going to give me my OnShape interface here. It's like Google Drive, all my different drawings that people have shared with me that I've made, public stuff. I'm going to create a brand new one. So create new document and call it Desk Tidy 2020. Now this is a default design I'm working on. It starts with a part and an assembly. With all 3D objects, I'm going to start with a sketch. So I'm going to make a sketch, and then it asks me where would I like to put that sketch. I'm going to put it on the top plane because I'm going to draw the cross section of the square tubing we're using. So I'm going to click on top here. I could click on top there probably. Click on top there. Once I've done that, and maybe you've clicked around a bit too excitedly, if I go out of the sketch, I go back to my normal modeling tools, I need to be in that sketch. So please don't keep making sketch after sketch after sketch. Keep your drawing nice and neat and tidy. I'm going to double click on sketch and I'm back into sketch mode. I don't want to draw on an angle. What I want to draw on is that sketch straight down. I could use this little cube up here and click on top, or I could right click on the sketch and view normal to sketch plane. Both will give me the same thing. I want to draw a rectangle. I can see my shapes and drawing tools up here. The closest to what I want to draw is this one. So rectangle. There are two types of rectangles I could draw. I could draw a corner rectangle and a center point. A center point is more useful for me for this one. I'm going to click on the origin and drag it out and click again. It's given me the option now to type in some dimensions. If you haven't changed your drawing to metric, please type in millimeters as you go. But mine's a default metric, so I only need to type in 20. Enter, enter. And then I'm going to roll my wheel and zoom in. I'm going to put a fillet around the outside because we don't have sharp corners like this on our square tube. We have an external radius, the ER, and we've made that one. So over here is my fillet tool. There's the shortcut for it, Shift F. So I'm going to select it and pick each one of my corners that I want to fillet. Now the default is coming up as 5 mil. I'm going to change that, so double click and make it 1 mil. I'm happy with that. I can untick fillet. Now because I did it all in one go, if I come back to that fillet and change it to 3, they'll all change. If I did each one, fillet, 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 I could have 4 different radiuses. Okay, but that is not necessary for this. Now I want to do the wall thickness, which we've made, well, which is 1.6 millimeters. So I'm going to pick an offset. I could draw another rectangle, but then you'd have to work out what 20 minus 3.2 is, and it's not that hard, but offset's going to be better for what I want to do. Drag a box around it. The default offset is 5, so I'm going to bring this arrow in like this and double click on there. Oh, 1.6, there we go. So now we've got a 1.6 offset, so the wall thickness, a WT, and I'm happy with that sketch. There we go. Right button will zoom around like that, zoom out. That's all I wanted. Now I'm going to add a feature to the sketch. I'm out of sketch mode. I've got my features and all on here. I'm going to click on the first one, the most commonly used, extrude, and it says, what do I want to extrude? I want to just go the whole sketch. Click on sketch 1. Comes up as 25 mil. That's a default. I'm going to make mine 120 millimeters and hit enter. So I've got a 120 millimeter bit of tube. If I wanted to turn my planes off because they're only there to guide me, I'll tick, escape out of that, extrude, sorry, I sketch 120, tick. Now, there's my bit of square tube. I could turn the planes off. That's what I meant to do before, but I accidentally was still had the extrude tool on. So P will turn those off and I can look at it. There we go. Turn them back on. So by the way, if your planes have disappeared, P, you've turned them off. I'm going to rename this and call it tube 120. And instead of doing that again, I could draw it again. I want 4 pieces of tube, each one a different length. I'm going to save myself some time and I'm going to duplicate. So I'm going to right click on my tube 120 and go duplicate. I might do that while I'm here. There we go. 3 copies of it. So I'm going to go to copy 1. And all I'm going to do is change the extrude to a few different sizes. 90. This is pretty much up to you at this stage. When I've changed it, I should change the name. 90, I made that one. Come to this one. Double click on the extrude. Maybe make this one 60. Tick. Right click. Rename. 60. Here's my next bit of tube. Double click on the extrude. Let's make this one 30. Okay, so we've got to rename that. So I got tube 120, 30, 60, and 90. Okay, let's put them together. So I'm going to go over to my assembly and start inserting the pieces I want. The first one I insert, I probably want to fix it so it doesn't wander all over the screen and I can join things together. So you're going to put them in the order you want to put them in. There's my 4 bits of tube, and I'm going to use the fasten mate to connect them together. So I just have to pick 2 things I want to glue together and where I want them. So I'm going to start on that bottom middle part, and I'm going to join it to this bottom middle part and go, yeah, happy with that. Let's do another one. That one to this one, and that one to here. Tick. So there's my basic structure of my desk tidy. If one of them was not where I wanted it, I could right click, delete, double click and delete individual things, or perhaps a little bit of moving it around with these little tools underneath. Even the offset will let me bring it up and down. More advanced, we'll do that in the next design. I'm happy with that. I'm going to make a base for it. So it's 20, 40, 60, 80. 80 mil wide, 20 mil there. How about we make 20 mil all the way around? So we'll come out 20 mil here, 20 mil there. So that's 120 by 60. Sounds pretty good. We can adjust it later. I want to make a new part. So click on the little plus down here, create new part. let's make a bit of plate. We have some 2mm plate in the workshop. Let's start with a sketch, pick a plane, view straight at it. I'll do another rectangle from the center out, bring it here, and I said it wanted to be 120 by 60. Happy with that. We will fillet these corners as well, but we'll put a bigger fillet on these ones. Because the last fillet we did was 1, it'll want to keep it at 1, but I think perhaps 20mm. Might be a bit big. Let's make it 15. Okay, tick. We can change that later. We need to add an extrusion. What do we want to extrude? That sketch and 2mm. Tick. So we've got a bit of plate there. Let's give it a name. Call it base. And go back to our assembly and add it. So insert, there's the base we did. I'm going to put it underneath. This time I'm going to use the fasten. And I'm going to pick right in the center of these two, the middle point. There, right there. And then come down here and the midpoint right there. Tick. There we go. There's our design. Looks pretty good. Now we've got the assembly, but we'd like to put it together as a drawing that we can print out and take into the workshop. So we're going to start a new drawing. I'm going to make an A3 drawing, so I might get a custom A3 third angle projection because we're in Australia. First angle if you were in America. I sometimes turn these off, but I think that will do me fine. Millimeters, A3, third angle. And okay. It wants to know what I want to do. I might want to do a drawing on an individual part, but we want to put the whole assembly in. So here's where we go. We would have, let's do our front view there. We've got scale 1:2. I don't think 1:1 would fit very well. Let's have a look. Be pushing it. Yeah, we'll halve it. We'll do scale 1:2. View orientation. Let's do the front about here. Then I move up and it'll give me the top. Then I'll move over here, get the side. So I've got top projection, front projection, side projection, and then I'll do a pictorial isometric up there. So I selected what I wanted and then I just dragged it and it'll change the views to what should go there, like that. Okay, escape out of that. So I got my top, my pictorial, my front, and my side. I probably should have that more into the middle of the page like this. And then I could label them. This one here could probably do with right click, show hidden lines, because I've got some details like the height of this that I'd like to put in there. I then am going to start doing some interesting dimensions. I want to make it easy to read. So let's start with doing the base. Click on dimension, say from here to here. That's 60 mil. From there to there. That was 120. What I'm trying to do is put enough detail on here that someone could make it. and that's not always the person that draws it up. So if I just did the one radius on here, the person making it would make the assumption, without putting a ruler or a compass on there, that they're all going to be the same. So let's put some more details on there. Let's put, oh, here we go, 20 mil, and we'll do, okay, so 20 mil tube. We might do the sizes up here. So let's go from here to here at 30. Go from there to there, make that 60. There to there, make that 90. And here to here, make that 120. We might put $2 mil there, and other things we'll put outside of that. So we've got the radius, got our 4 sizes. We know that it's 20 mil square. We might put another here. That'll give us that one. And let's put a welding symbol. We're going to put a little weld along a couple of edges here. So let's put a welding symbol in. Welding symbol. Want to fillet weld on both sides of it. And let's say right there. That's where we're going to weld. That's good enough for this drawing. So we've got a welding symbol there. Let's give it some names. All uppercase, Desk Tidy 220. There we go, that's the right one. Desk Tidy 220. Brutalist design, make it fancy. Metal work. Actually, you know what we're going to put in? Lynham High School. Desk Tidy 2020 Brutalist Design, Lynham High School. In here I'm going to put drawing number. About something fancy. 220. There we go. First drawing. Drawn by. So automatically put my details in there and the date. Happy with that. That gives me enough to go to the workshop and start drawing. I'm going to do right click, export, PDF, and it'll download in a minute. Here we go. And there's my drawing. Ready to print out at school and take into the workshop with me. So thanks for watching. Let's get into the workshop.